Sacred Ring of the Magi, Ring of Strength. So the ladies' one looks about the same. The Ring of Strength, Sacred Ring of the Magi, three-headed diamond snake ring, constructed of virgin gold and precious stones. He that weareth a snake ring about him shall be helped in every need or necessity. Ancient manuscripts. Now, superstitions about what's attached to the stone has called for the idea of it being in virgin gold, but it's really about the purity or integrity of the gold. So if it's melted down from other things and is in a higher integrity than something made in virgin gold, then whatever. But talismans are by, faith and use of it, right? So the great word of life. Ordeal is the great word of life, and life itself is a serpent which brings forth and devours unceasingly. Well, if you look at the aura is light, heat, moisture, and magnetism, but you make the sounds like Sori Gamma Pada Nisha Shani Da Pamagarisa. And if you practice that sort of thing in the particular centers of the head and the rest of the body, you end up, at times, seeing yourself, or your aura self, or whatever, as some sort of rainbow serpent. So, men and women must escape from its folds. They must set their foot upon its head. Laurence, the greatest living adept, has duplicated the serpent, setting it against itself, and in an external equilibrium, he converted the serpent into a three-headed snake talisman ring. This famous ring is shown in 10 different styles elsewhere on these pages, ranging in price from $15 to $100 each. It is our wish to sell these fine snake rings only to those who believe and have faith in their virtue, as the prices asked for them are the lowest at which goods of this kind can be sold, consistent with honest value. Under order number 660, 661, 662, 663, 664, and 665, we have listed this famous ring to sell at only $15, and no jeweler in the world could furnish the mounting alone for this price, for every mounting is guaranteed to be handmade out of solid gold. He's using Indian labor, isn't he? And so there's this square picture frame drawing of a woman on a tree that's leaning, but there's a branch leaning the other way that stabilizes it, and on that branch there's more than the fruit that she's picking, but she's holding up this piece of fruit, and this naked woman, there's a snake twisting back and forth and is obviously big enough to come at her, but is at least watching her from below, and maybe she doesn't notice this snake is watching her from below. The extraordinary interest which has recently been taken in the sacred ring of the Magi by advanced occult students, men of science and genius, has become very manifest. Now, we shouldn't necessarily just justify something as, somebody smart or trained or something has said this or something. Well, what is the reasoning? Because certainly we find now that mental illness is more common in those of a notably higher intelligence than it is of those who are lower. And by that, of course, I mean, the mild retardation and stuff like this. If we don't count that, then yeah, mental illness is more common. Flushed with their success derived from wearing talismans, which they believe infallible, many are today taking advantage of the opportunity offered here to secure one of these three-headed snake rings for the very same is constructed of virgin gold and precious stones, and is known as the Ring of Strength. Indeed, there are many who have tested the worth of talismans, and believe there is great occult virtue in a three-headed snake ring, when it is made of virgin gold and mounted with any three of the following 7 precious stones: the diamond, the ruby, the emerald, the amethyst, the sapphire, the topaz, or the garnet. Their appreciation and belief in talismanic operations are on a par with the unlimited faith of the ancients in these mysterious agents from the laboratory of nature, as they are said to be by those writers of ancient manuscripts treating upon the subject of talismanic magic. The writings of the ancients are filled with the various effects of descriptions of talismanic snake rings, many of which were formed of the most costly materials, as of virgin gold, diamonds, and rubies, and other precious stones. A three-headed snake talisman ring, exactly like the one shown here, made by the ancients, as follows. What ancients? Is said to prove of great and surprising efficacy in the way of acquiring powerful friends and overcoming the evils of life. So it is stated in an old manuscript. Let a three-headed snake ring be formed of virgin gold, wherein thou shalt place any 3 of the following 7 precious stones: the diamond, the ruby, the emerald, the amethyst, the garnet, the sapphire, and the topaz. Now, there are instructions about amulets, talismans, charms, various things. It becomes a talisman because of its use. If it's a charm and amulet, it's like it has powers or something, and it's on its own. But yeah, so there is instruction of this, but it'd be nice to know what the source is, right? Wear it about thee, and fear no man, for thou will be invincible as Achilles. So saith a certain old manuscript of the 11th century, the Common Era. He who reads carefully what is written here regarding this famous talisman ring of India and Egypt will receive an accurate description of this most esteemed talisman, which ancient manuscripts treat of, and also learn a legend of the marvelous efficacy which tradition relates regarding it. Occult virtue attributed to a snake ring. The ancients, who were extremely fond of divination, were wont to place a great confidence and belief in the occult virtue of a three-headed snake ring, but the very same must be constructed purely of virgin gold and precious stones of very great value. Those ancients who believed in clairvoyance and divination well knew that results depended upon the unfettered agency of the human mind and will, are intent to know or foresee any difficult or hidden thing. The sacred ring of the Magi is said to inherit a virtue from the snake, after which it was designed, and on this account is believed to act as a charm against evil spirits and witchcraft. It is also said to be of marvelous efficacy for men to wear while seeking employment. The latter virtue is also mentioned by many writers of the 11th century. Again, let this sacred ring be worn on the 3rd finger of the left hand, and no enemy or foe shall overcome the wearer. So it is said. The ring being worn is said to protect the wearer against all invisible beings. Indeed, there are many who deem it infallible, for in an ancient manuscript it is written that he that weareth a snake ring about him shall be helped in every need or necessity. Well, some of the, even the one quote is like, is it talking about the sacred thread? Like you wrap it around yourself 3.5 times or 2.5 times or something? Get it worth a snake ring about him shall be helped in every need or necessity. The 3-headed solid gold handmade talisman snake rings shown here are exactly like those worn by the ancient Magi, being constructed of virgin gold, and exactly like those worn by the ancient and precious stones. They are most attractive rings ever worn and are made exclusively for us by our own manufacturing jewelers in 10 different styles, ranging in price from, okay, that's the ad cuts off.